Hey, good day, folks. I hope everybody is having a great day so far. I just wanted to come on and make this video. I don't know how long it's going to be, but basically, I just want to update you guys on some stuff. And, of course, this is going to be one of those type of videos where I'm going to be spilling out some random thoughts. So, it is what it is. I mean, it's one of those kind of videos. So, yeah, yesterday, I walked off my job. Yes, I did. Now, for those of you that have been following me for the last couple of months, give or take, I've came on this channel to tell you guys some of the issues I've been having at what's now my former employer here in Alabama. I mean, I want to say maybe about a week and a half or so ago, I talked briefly about some bigotry that's been going on at the job, where I was in a restroom stall next to a co-worker, and the co-worker who I was next to, I mean, he started playing a bunch of stuff that was real bigot-like just to get a rise out of me. Well, fast forward to maybe, I want to say about a week ago, give or take. Oh, no, maybe about a half a week ago. It's been several days. Now, there is another employee. I mean, he was a lot younger than I was. He was like maybe, 19, 20 years old. And, I came in to use the restroom, and he was sitting at the sinks washing his hands. And he was asking me if I saw anybody walk out the restroom recently, and I told him no. And then it's like, why? I mean, what's going on? And then he was like, well, there was someone that was playing some racist stuff right by me. And I explained to him, well, the same thing happened to me. And I told him, well, the best thing you can do is if you're able to, find yourself another place to go work at. But until you're able to find a better job, your best bet while you're here is to not give these people any type of energy. Just don't give them no energy, because they're trying to get a rise out of us. They want us to get excited and do something, and then we're going to be the ones that are going to get in trouble. And since there's way more of them than there are us, I'm a firm believer that you got to pick your battles carefully. Because if you don't, it could, the consequences could be deadly. And that's basically what I told him in a nutshell. I just explained that a lot of the people that work at this company, they're miserable. They probably haven't accomplished anything of significance in their life. So rather than taking responsibility and being an adult and looking at their own life and doing what's necessary to better their life, they rather take that frustration and put it on other people. And so in a nutshell, I just told him, man, don't, I understand you're angry. You're mad. And when he was doing that stuff, I was mad, but I'm older and I just learned to deal with it. And I was trying to educate this young man on how to deal with it. And then, of course, I also explained some of the issues I was having with some co-workers. Now, that video, I forgot what I titled it. I think I titled it Why I Might Be Leaving My New Job After 3 weeks. That video, that video was about a month and a half ago, give or take. Well, at first I thought all those issues were resolved, but apparently they weren't. Those issues started coming up again with the same people. So with that going on, and then all the bigotry that's been going on with the with the situation that I was telling you guys about. And plus, there is some other stuff going on. And there are certain conversations that were being had that, you know, I'm not going to lie to you people. I mean, you know, I eavesdrop on a couple of their I kind of eavesdrop on a couple of the conversations because I wanted to get a healthy idea of who the heck I was working around all day. Because I'm a firm believer that, you know, when people start to show who they are, you know, I'm one of those kind of people that, you know, I don't like to go off of speculation. I don't like to go off of what other people tell me. I like to go off of what I actually see or hear with my own two eyes and ears. And I don't know how to explain this, but, you know, just as time went by and I was at this job, you know, the issues were getting no better. And I began to notice a growing amount of bigotry that was going on at the company that I was working for. And then finally, yesterday, me and a co-worker, we got into a argument. And, you know, and to make a long story short, I just decided, you know what? I don't need this job. I do got plenty of money set aside to live off of while I figure things out. And I didn't really like the job in the first place. I mean, for one, this place, it's an hour away from my house, which whatever. But I'm not a morning person, and this job was morning shift. So when I thought about all the things I did not like about the job, you know, this person was getting loud and screaming and yelling, and it was, you know, it was to a point where their face was turning red. So it's like, I just sat there, just, at the same time I was listening to their little bullshit, I was also thinking about the next move I was going to make. Because at first, I was going to go ahead, finish out the shift, and take all my crap home, turn all my gear into my supervisor, and then just not go back the next day. And then I got to thinking about it. So, you know what? The day is almost over. I already know I'm not coming back. I don't like the people that I work with for the most part. I mean, there's a few people there that appear to be all right, but for the most part, I don't really like the job. Don't really care about the people. And some of you are probably thinking, okay, well, if I'm having problems, why didn't I report it to Human Resources? Why didn't I report it to any of my superiors? Well, as I've kind of explained to you guys back several videos ago, the video that I made, I think I titled it Things You Need to Know Before Moving to Alabama. I forgot exactly how I worded it, but I made that video, I want to say, about a couple of weeks or so ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. I lost track. And on that video, I was kind of explaining that if you're going to live in rural Alabama, you'll be better off living somewhere that's no farther than a major city. And then I named off all the major cities that were here in Alabama, basically. Because if you live in a rural community and you get a job that's in a small town, and again, I'm not saying this is always going to be the case, but I'm saying from my experience, it tends to be the case more so than it isn't. But you get a job in some small town, you're going to deal with more people that are ignorant and uneducated and bigot-like. And basically, for the 2 months I've had this job, that has been my experience in a nutshell. So that's why I did not waste my time going to Human Resources or going to my higher-ups, because to me, that's a waste of my time. I mean, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna cry like a little person, talking about this and that. I ain't got time for that, man. I'm a grown man. I'll go out here and find another job and I'll do something else. That's my mentality. I ain't got time to be crying to another grown man about some other ignorant grown person acting like an idiot. I ain't got time for that. So I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I got a little bit of money stashed away. I no longer have my house up in Indiana. Now, I will be honest. Well, no, yeah, I no longer have my house up in Indiana. So I don't have a whole, my overhead is fairly low. So I'm going to go ahead and quit the, so I decided, you know what, I'm not putting up with this shit. So, as soon as, as soon as I decided to not put up with this shit no more, I went back to the locker area. I grabbed all my gear. I grabbed all my stuff out of the locker. I talked to my supervisor, and I told my supervisor what I was going to do. And my supervisor was like, well, no, I hate to see you go, blah, blah, blah. Just a bunch of PR bullshit, which I wouldn't really fallen for. Because my attitude is, if they really wanted to do something about the situation, they would have done something about the situation. But my attitude is they don't want to do anything about it because it's just it's just how the climate is there. It's the environment. I mean, for many of these people, that's how they're raised. It's ingrained, and there ain't a damn thing I'm going to do about it. And I'm not trying to do nothing about it. I'm just trying to take care of me and be happy and get out here and get this money, grow this channel. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to change the world. I'm not trying to change people that are ignorant. It is what it is. So I told my supervisor what was going on and why I was walking out. And I just put all the crap on the table and grabbed all my personal items, and I walked out of the place. Now, this was towards the end of the shift when I decided to walk out. And honestly, on that day, even up until lunch break, me and a couple of people were already having difficulties. And I was going to walk out during lunch, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and eat my lunch and see how things go. I ate my lunch. I felt a little better, but I was still on some, yeah, as soon as the day is over, they can go, they can go somewhere. So yeah, when this other coworker started coming at me, they started tripping. It's like, nah, I ain't dealing with that no more. I'm gone. I'm out of here. I don't need this job. I don't need a job that bad, and I don't. I'm not trying to brag. I'm just keeping it real. I do not need a job that bad. I don't need a job so bad to where I'm willing to deal with a bunch of bigots, with a bunch of ignorant, backward bigots. No, thank you. So, yeah, I walked off the job yesterday. Now, what the heck am I going to do for income now that I don't have this job? Well, I got a few thoughts. Obviously, I'm going to work on this channel. Thanks to you guys, my channel's been doing phenomenal. It's been growing. And I'm going to work on the channel. I'm going to take advantage of the growth of my channel here. And I'm going to do some more traveling around. I'm going to do some more traveling around videos. I do have a trip coming up. Now, I'm not going to tell you where I'm going to go. You guys will see where I go when you see. But I do got a little trip coming up. Just like the good old times, where I'm going to be gone for probably a week or two at a time. So yeah, that's coming up. Now, when I walked off my job yesterday, on my way back home, I started thinking of how I was going to make my money. Because I'm not one of these people that like to sit around and not work and be lazy. I like to stay productive. I like to stay making money somehow, some way. So at first I was thinking, well, let me go online and look for another job when I get home. And then when I get home, I'm thinking, you know what? I'm not doing that. Forget that. Because, the reason why I came back, one of the reasons why I chose to come back to Alabama and I sold my house up in Indiana was because, like I said, the whole deal about the climate and the proximity to beaches, and also when it came, I know the economy down here is not as good as it is up in Indiana. I've been knowing that, that's no longer news to me. But I'm thinking, I got this job. You know, the pay is okay. So I'm gonna come out here and while I'm working that job, I'll just continue to build my YouTube following, and I'll dabble in some other things to make some extra money. That was my plan when I came back to Alabama. And by the way, there was another job that I could have took, but I decided to not take that job because the pay was considerably less than the job that I chose to take, which was a job I just walked off of yesterday. So I'm thinking, okay, well, it takes a little bit of time to look for work down here. But, if for some reason I lose this job, I'll just go back out here and look for another job. And then I got to think, you know what? I don't know if I have the patience to look for another job down here. I'm not sure I got the tolerance to look for another job down here. I think for now, I'm going to just go out here and take another road trip and put out some more content for the channel. And I'm going to also dabble in some other money-making endeavors that are not 9-to-5 related. I think I'm going to try that out and see where things go. This is something which I should have done before, to be quite frank, but I'm going to do it now. And, if I did have to go back to a 9-to-5, or if I chose to go back to a 9-to-5 for that income security to some degree, I don't know if I would even stay here in Alabama. I mean, I contemplated on selling my house here, and for a while living out of my van, and then just going back up to Indiana and eventually finding employment up there and working. And then when the housing market cools off and I find something that I want up in Indiana that I feel is priced right, I'll buy something up there again. Except this time, the house would have to be turnkey, move-in ready. I'm not gonna dabble in any more fixer-uppers. I'm not doing that. I'd rather have something turnkey, move-in ready. I'm not trying to be doing a bunch of home repairs. That's just not what I'm trying to do. I mean, I prefer to be on the road and travel. And, I do believe in having a home base. I do believe in home ownership. I'm just not trying to be doing a bunch of tanking around and renovating. I'm not trying to do all that. Now, yesterday, shortly after I got back home from work, I went online, I looked at houses, the price which I wanted to pay for a home, and just some of the features I desire, land size, square footage, all that type of stuff. I typed all that in, and rather than typing in a specific city or area, I just typed in Indiana because I wanted to see what was available to me in the whole entire state of Indiana. And I was on this computer for, I want to say a good 3 hours, doing nothing but looking at houses. Because I wanted to give myself a reality check on what was going on in the current housing market up in Indiana. Well, to make a long story short, there wasn't a darn thing which I wanted up in Indiana that I felt was priced right. I mean, the housing prices are still crazy. I mean, if I were to buy a house right now in Indiana for, let's say, $100,000, the house would be a super basic, plain Jane house. And some of those houses I've looked at were even located in less than desirable neighborhoods. So I'm just thinking, you know what? I mean, I thought about, because honestly, I did thought, the idea of selling this house here in Alabama and going back up to Indiana, that idea did cross my mind. So that's why I decided to sit down and just give myself a reality check in terms of what's going on with the housing market. And I gotta say, when I left the computer, I left disappointed because I left disappointed. So for the time being, I think the best thing for me to do is to keep what I have here in Alabama and just figure out other ways to get out here and make some money. Because I got to think, you know what, even if I was up in Indiana, do I really want to go back to a 9 to 5? No, I don't. Now, if I see that my money is starting to decrease, then yeah, I will go back to a 9 to 5 because I'm not too proud to do that. I mean, whatever I gotta do to keep my money up is what I do. But do I want to do it? No. So I'm thinking, okay, housing prices up in Indiana are still, in my opinion, ridiculous. So clearly, I will not be buying a house up there right now because I did not feel like getting ripped off and then losing money as a result of it. And the job market in the region of Alabama where I'm located, I mean, there are jobs down here. Let's make that perfectly clear. I'm not going to sit here and cry about how there's no jobs down here. There are jobs down here. It's just that the jobs that are available, many of them don't pay worth a crap. And some of the jobs are just the type of work that either A, I'm not good at doing, or two, due to my feet, I can't do. Because some of the jobs, you got to be on your feet for 12 hours a day. And at this point, I have trouble doing that. And, you know, and again, if I have to go back to a 9 to 5, I will. However, I refuse to work among a bunch of people that I feel are ignorant. I refuse to do it. I mean, to me, life is way too short to deal with people that are ignorant, and I just prefer to not be around that type of energy. And I also got to thinking, you know what? With the combination of gig work, my YouTube channel, and maybe down the road, I might even consider getting a job delivering pizza in one of the towns, in one of the cities that are close by to where I live. I thought about getting maybe a job delivering pizza with that, YouTube, and gig work, and a couple of other money earning endeavors. I'm thinking I could probably make, if not the same amount of money as I made on my job, I could potentially make more money than on my job. Now, granted, it's not going to be a clean cut, I work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and that's it. No. What I'm looking at doing is going to require me to probably do 12 hours a day, 6 and 7 days a week. Well, maybe 12 hours a day on average, at least 5 days a week. And then over the weekend, I'll still have to do maybe 4 to 8 hours a day, which at this point, that doesn't really bother me because I figure if I do what I like and I build it up and I get to live the lifestyle that I desire to live, which is, you know, I come and go as I please basically. If there's somewhere I want to travel to and create content for the channel, I'll just get up and go. I don't have to worry about if I miss too many days, I'm gonna get fired. I don't gotta deal with a bunch of ignorant people. I'm by myself. I work on my own terms. I go hard and get my money up, you know, get my followers up here on YouTube and just keep it going from there. And that's basically what my thoughts have been the last, I'll just say, but really I've had these thoughts for the last couple of months. Ever since the first situation that I've endured at my now former employer here in Alabama, These are the kind of thoughts that have been going on in the back of my mind. And obviously, now that I'm no longer at the job, now these kind of thoughts have been going on at a more elevated pace, if you will. So, yeah, I think for now, I'm going to stay here in Alabama. I'm going to keep the house because the housing prices up in Indiana are ridiculous. Not to mention the property taxes up there are higher. And plus, if I go back up there, I would also have to pay for gas. Like many houses up there, the hot water and the furnace is gas. And I believe the state of Indiana just approved Vectron, which is a gas company up in Indiana, to raise their rates by about 30%. So if I move back up north to Indiana, my overhead is going to be higher. Property taxes are going to be higher. Down here in Alabama, I don't have to pay for gas. Up there, I would also have to pay for gas. And water, depending on where in Indiana that I might choose to live, my water bill will most likely be higher as well. Just like it was in the last place in Indiana I lived. Because where I'm at now, my water is about it's $50 a month. Where I was living at in Indiana, my water bill was about $100 a month. So, for financial purposes, be better off staying where I'm at here in Alabama. And like I told you guys before, I like where I live, where I live, I like my location, I like this house. And another thing is, if I were to buy a house up in Indiana, I would be hard pressed to find anything for sale that would be within my price range that came with an acre. The best I would be able to do up in Indiana would be probably a quarter of an acre. So for all those reasons that I just discussed, I'm going to most likely reside here in Alabama, and I'm going to just continue to work on this channel, try to get it built up to where ultimately I can live off the proceeds, to where I can actually live off the proceeds. And as far as other ways for me to make my money, I'm going back to gig work. And you guys will be seeing some of those videos on this channel as well. And like I said, there's a couple of other endeavors I'm going to look into in terms of me earning an income. If I can avoid having to go back to 9 to 5, I will. And I'm going to try diligently to do exactly that. And right now, those are my plans. So hopefully you guys got something out of the video. And for those of you that watched the entire video, I appreciate every last one of you. And I thank every last one of you for the growth and success of my channel. And if you like what I do, give this video a thumbs up. And while you're at it, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you have your notifications turned on. Because I heard from another YouTuber that YouTube changed there is something that YouTube changed. And it automatically cut your notifications off. So make sure your notifications are on, so whenever I make a new video, you guys know. And on that note, stay blessed, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.